Hi guys and welcome back. So this lesson will be the last one in the series for modeling for a typical UK house type, and after that one we'll go towards the texturing phase and then subsequently to the rendering phase afterwards. Let's finish off the modeling in this particular video. So let's just finalize everything and we'll move forward from there. So what we have here, we've pretty much modeled everything that there needs to be modeled. There are some bits that are missing. For example, the brick detail here, probably the door here. So let's get started. So just to do a quick one, for this brick detail, let's just grab this one that we created earlier and then just copy and make sure it's positioned accordingly. Move to the front and then let's make sure that we got this lined up properly. So most probably it's going to be 20 mils here, and then we got this one at 150, which is fine. And now what we can do is we can go into the line segment here, into vertex, and start refining it. So let's just start adding the vertices here. Let's position them accordingly. And then it's just a matter of deleting this. What we can do is we can enable the show end results toggle. That's going to help us in reviewing. So we can just delete the segment here and you can see everything lining up fine. We can delete this one as well. That's lining up fine as well. And this one actually finishes off on left side, the right side accordingly. That's pretty much all you need to do for this bit. And for this door here, what we can do is we can actually copy this door that we created. Actually, let me just get the this bit as well. Let's just copy on, position it 90 degrees, and then what we can do is we can move all of these guys to right at the bottom, all of these guys to here as well. What we can do now, we can go into a bit more detail. We can go into the left elevation, and then we can start moving the vertices around to their particular positions. You can see here there seems to be like a frame structure, so we can just follow it as it is. Let's just do that. Okay, and then what we'll do is we will do the upper bit as well, like so. Select all the vertices and just make sure they are set to corner. And then what we can do is we can actually start editing the frame. Basically, it's the main glass frame. So you don't need too much definition in it because most probably it might not be too much visible. You never know. There might be instances where it's visible. So it's always good to be prepared. Then we're gonna do the glass. So I'm just gonna start moving the vertices around. Just wanna make sure that it all lines up properly. So as you can see here, there seems to be a bit of an issue on this side. Not to worry. Just make sure it's all set to corner. Yeah, it seems like the chamfer modifier is not doing its job very well here, which is quite weird. I wonder if I would just remove it altogether. Let's just move the glass area a little bit here. And then what we can do is we can create a copy. This one and just move it in slightly. And last but not least, the frame is missing, so super simple. So create another object underneath the base and then trace out the frame like so, and then we just extrude it slightly. Oops, too much. And yeah, that's about right. And just move it just to give the impression of the frame. And what we can do is we can just push everything in slightly, because a door never reaches out that much. So probably something like that would work. And we can then just group the whole thing. There we go. Okay, so now as we can see, we got pretty much all of it modeled. All the main bits are modeled. The only bit that's remaining is the rainwater pipes. They're not too complicated to do. I mean, we're also missing some bits here, but they're not necessary for the timing. First, what we need is a guide of where the rainwater pipes are going to go. So let's just trace that bit out. Like so. And do a sweep modifier. Actually, let's just move it slightly here so that's all lined up. And then what we can do is we can do a half round radius set to 50. And then we can rotate it 180 degrees, so that's going to give us a good visualization for a gut ring. So this is called the gut ring and this is called the rainwater pipe. And the other bit we can do is we can go here. We can then create sort of like a support or handles. We could probably do something like, don't have to be super accurate with it, as long as it gives the impression that it's holding on to something. And then what we can do is we can actually push the sweep forward a little bit. So something like, yeah, something like, I would say 20. Yeah, 20 is fine. Let's go back to the side view. Okay, and then just extrude that bit out. So just give you it's a good way of visualizing these supports. And then you can just position them however you want. I would just position them here and then put an array modifier. Yeah, it's probably too much. I would say like 6 of them should be enough. Spacing, yeah, let's just do the spacing. It's much more better. Okay, there we go. And then it's just a matter of copying these guys. Locations. Like so. Just gonna push these guys here as well. The other thing you can do is you can add a bit more detail to the whole thing. by just going into extrude, putting a little poly. And then here, what you can do is you can have a circle element. So just to give an impression that there are some nuts and bolts that are keeping the whole thing together. Attach that, and then interpolation, we don't need too much. We can probably go for like 1. It's more than enough. Extrude it out, position it all back together. 1 is more than enough, just to give an impression that there are some nuts and bolts here. And then what we can do is we can then assign chamfer on top of everything here. So, and then smooth only the chamfered edges. I'm going to tries, just so we get a nice chamfered edges on the bottom. And what we can do here is we can then attach the nuts and bolts. So as you can see, it's probably a bit too much. The best thing to do is to apply a separate chamfer on this one. On the entire object, chamfer edges only, tries, and then just reduce it down to 1. There we go. And then what we can do is we can then attach these guys. So now comes an interesting bit. What if we just copy all of these guys and paste them here? What would happen? Just as expected. Power of instancing. There we go. So we got a nice bit of detail holding on to our rainwater pipe. Okay, the next thing we can do is we can do the same for this bit here as well. So we can see the rainwater pipe actually goes down here and goes on this side. So first things first, what we do is we trace the rainwater line. So, and then we go to good old sweep, and this one is going to be a cylinder, so we're going to keep it a cylinder. And then what we can do is we can move it around to the point where we actually want it to go, and we can increase the radius as well. So let's just move it to and here, and the radius to 25. So I would say -50 on the X offset. All right. So the second bit we need to do is we need to put the supports in, and for that we can probably do the same bit that we did for the other instances. Actually, before we move forward with that, let's just do, because these pipes are never going to be that, there's always going to be some smoothing going on here. So let's just smooth these out with a fillet, like so. And then we need to do the supports. So you can probably use the same technique that we did here. Let's just find out. Let's see what works. So okay, that works. And then what we need to do is we need to make sure our pivot is positioned right at the center of this pipe. And then instead of pushing that forward, what we can do is we can then push these guys down a little bit, then extrude it. 25 is more than enough, and then do a symmetry on it. Next thing we can do is we can keep on adding more vertices. Smooth. Like so. The other thing we can possibly do is let's just make sure this is slightly less protruded. Finally, what we can do is we can just steal these guys. Make sure the pivot point is centered to the object. And then let's move that to the same location. Accordingly. Okay. Now on top of it, what we could do is we can then add a chamfer, the usual. Let's make sure one degree is fine. Yeah. Let's make sure this is centralized a little bit. Like so. Make sure that's copied across as well. Now, edit a poly and then attach these guys together. Okay. Other thing we can do is we can then add one point here and then just do a bit of curve on it so that it ends in that sort of manner. It's a matter of just copying and pasting it. 5 copies are more than enough. Actually, it's 4. And what you can do to this pipe structure is you can have an additive poly on top of it, and then you can grab these 2 edges and do a loop, and that's going to select everything. And then what you can do is you can actually do an extrude on top of it, just to give an impression that there is something going on. So I'm just going to do this 4. I'm going to do this 4 as well. I am going to select these edges as well, do a loop like so. And then while these edges are still selected, I am just going to do chamfer on these edges, and I'm going to do a 0. There we go. Okay. And we can pretty much do the same for this side as well. Just loop, then extrude, and then chamfer, like so. Okay. And finally, just select everything like so and group it all together, and then just create an instance and then symmetry. Next thing we can do is we can actually make a copy of it, go to the other side, symmetry, modifier, and then we can position it right about here. Now, as we can see, this one is actually in a slightly different location. So what we can do is we can just select this one. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, sort of works. Okay, what we can do is we can rotate this bit around like so. And from the looks of it, our modifiers are working the way they should be. So, and then actually, let's just do an edited poly on top of everything. Let's just push this around. Okay. And I think that's gonna work, yeah. And then just push this one pretty much in the same location as the cat, like so. Okay. And what we can do is we can actually detach this bit as an element. So that is still kept for the same object, but you can actually manipulate it separately while being in the same object. So it's just an elemental change. So, and last but not least, we gotta edit actual guttering. Let's just move this around here and then move the support around as well, like so. Okay, right, so yeah, I think we're done. So we have pretty much reached the end of the house type modeling lesson series, and we have our typical UK based house type model. So in the next series, what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on the texturing, the lighting, and the rendering in V-Ray. And then moving forward, once we have a good looking rendering within 3dsmax, we will then take it one step further and we will take it directly into Unreal. So yeah, the next coming lessons are going to be quite interesting ones, and they're going to be quite informative as well. So I hope you enjoyed this series. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next series of tutorials. Bye bye.